Hi, I'm Laura from asocialmediaagency.com.
And I'm Andy from 10 Yetis Public Relations.
Today we're going to talk you through our white paper on Gangnam Style and how it went viral.
First of all, we should start off by saying that viral is this horrible term that gets thrown around way too casually. We can see that the record label behind Gangnam Style, YG Entertainment, really built up their audience before putting the song out. This wasn't a case of they started the YouTube channel with this one song. They kind of put in the time and the groundwork so that when this song came along, the audience were engaged enough to want to watch it, want to share it, and that was kind of the first milestone in its success.
This was a long-term plan from YG Entertainment. Back in 2011, they signed a deal with will.i.am to try and push into the UK and USA lucrative markets. In February 2012, their CEO actually came out and said, this was their plan, this is what they wanted to do over the next few years. And you can see how they organically grew their seeding platforms to be able to push a good video when it came out. They had in the region of 1.6 billion views across their various YouTube channels, and they had a subscriber base of around sort of 2.5 million by the look of it. We don't really know how many email addresses and consumers are in their email marketing databases, but we know just from having 2.5 million subscribers that they had a ready built audience on which to seed fantastic content.
I think what's proven really important with the release of the song was the fact that they put such an emphasis on the music video and that they understood that having something, a piece of content online, could make this song a success. So having this video on YouTube really was the thing that propelled the song to be successful on the radio.
Stage one, they had a plan. Stage two, they had a great audience on which to seed the video. Stage three comes to the video, and it works on every level. If you look at the contents of it, along with Psy, who'd actually had 6 fairly decent albums in the past and was a well-known singer in South Korea, they bought into current topical trends. So the fact it was called Gangnam Style, and a lot of the South Korean media thought that Psy was kind of taking the piss out of that rich district, kind of again gave the video an added emphasis on which they could see things.
When they were putting together the plan for the video, they thought of different people who were popular at the time, and probably people that were getting a lot of search queries on YouTube already. And that's a really great thing to do if you're thinking about putting together viral content.
So looking at the execution of the video and how it was released, again, that's really interesting. So YG Entertainment looks like their PR team reached out to all K-pop. It was billed very much as the comeback of Psy. When it launched on the 15th, or went onto YouTube on the 15th, they immediately had 500,000 hits on day one from that seeding platform. The previous media speculation or marketing analysis speculation before our white paper was that it was actually celebrities that drove this greater interaction, drove the further search, and drove it going viral. Well, the celebrities for our eyes didn't really come until later down the line. So there was a couple of sort of key milestones in the initial part. It was actually Kat Hannaford from Gizmodo, who was the first sort of mainstream journalist to write this up here in the UK. And of course, it went number 1 on the K-pop charts within a week of it launching, which meant that Billboard in America wrote it up as part of their review of the sort of K-pop charts. And what's interesting was that created debate because the way that it was written up was very much as though Psy had stolen the style of people like LFMAO, if I'm getting that right. And again, the debate was actually out there saying, well, hang on a minute, Psy's been around for far longer than those guys, so that's wrong.
That kind of debate can be brilliant though, and I think we've seen that work for other recording artists as well, like Lady Gaga having the whole stealing Madonna's style. I think when somebody comes from obscurity to this kind of fame, people are always going to assume they're copycatting, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. And obviously that led to so many other blog posts being written because people felt the need now to wade in with an opinion on whether he was original person to kind of have this style, or whether he did steal it from artists over here.
Yeah, and I think then that kind of led to a few of the sort of really big spikes. So an absolutely massive one was Gawker. They wrote it up. I think that story itself got 19,000 shares on Facebook, which kind of give it that appeal. Obviously, as I say, Billboard. And then CNN ran it, and that's when we saw the first real big mainstream spike, because CNN triggered a load of kind of copycat broadcast stuff. And I think that's where then, obviously Twitter, I think at that point was reaching sort of like 1.8 million mentions a day for Gangnam Style and Psy. So, you could really see then the thing that we say, which is kind of viral, organic viral, is very rare, and it's almost impossible for a brand to do that nowadays. You need to push into mainstream media for them to help it go viral.
You just can't predict something like being written up as video of the month on the YouTube blog. It just gives you such an enormous traffic boost, and we can all sit here and wish for it. I think it's incredibly difficult to ever dream of that as a brand, because Google will always be eyeing you for partnerships, advertising, etc. But that gave them an enormous traffic boost that you just can't really underestimate, and led to more and more media picking it up. The Daily Mail wrote so many articles on it. I think it was 6 articles in a 9-day period. That gives it even more views. Sky News also gave them some coverage.
And this is the bit that's either going to be controversial, true or not true. Psy then famously on September the 3rd, a video emerged of him having a celebratory drink with Scooter Braun, who's the manager of the likes of Justin Bieber. And so, Scooter Braun's a well-connected guy. Psy's film was plateauing. As soon as that happened, it hit another spike, and it just took it to a whole different league.
I think as well at this point, we're seeing all of the spoof videos coming out. So there's been so many made, and this is where people have a familiarity with the original video, and now they're starting to watch the spoofs. The coverage starts to become about that, because everyone knows the original, and so potentially that's drawing away some of the YouTube traffic as well. I mean, some of these videos actually have millions of views in their own rights.
But I think this is where Psy started to, and we talk about this in the white paper and in the SlideShare document that supports this video. He starts to sort of die a bit, but he dies with dignity. The traffic starts dropping off. There's no real sort of spikes coming around the corner. The very last push, I think, that delivered a real upward trend is when the Guinness World or Book World of Records, whatever you call it nowadays, when that came out and sort of said that it was had the world record for the most viewed or most liked film. Then again, it gave the mainstream media a chance to write that up, and we saw a slight increase. But to be honest, the general trend from sort of late September to early October was sort of downwards to where we are today now, which is tweet mentions we dropped to back down where they were when the campaign first launched. And although search traffic has remained sort of slightly less than its peak, you can see that that's trying to slow down as well a bit.
I think we have to also look at the possibility that this is just saturation of the interested audience. Everybody who is interested in this video now has probably seen it, spoken about it, and Psy is still doing things online to try and give it a little bit of a boost. He's doing some of the more not low profile stuff, but more internet based things like Reddit. He did an AMA this week and things like that. So he's still around, but he's not doing the high profile stuff at the moment, which is also going to lead to things just petering off.
So I guess if we kind of look at this in terms of a summary, there was a desire to push into the American market by YG Entertainment. They had a clear plan on how they were going to do that. They had a brilliant seeding platform on what they were going to do. They had really good content that they could share. And then once they launched it, they really did have a successful time. And, they have got a great foothold now in America and the UK market. It's the first ever South Korean #1 in UK. So, they've got a great platform now to launch their sort of wider portfolio of artists over here.
And I think in terms of one thing to really take away from this, if you're sitting there thinking, you know, I really want something to go viral, is just to make sure you spend the time planning. It's absolutely vital to the success of anything you decide to do, really.
That's the 10 Yetis and the social media agency white paper roundup. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks very much.